Greetings, Hacksters! I'm very excited about today's stream because I've been waiting as these packages from Raspberry Pi. Okay, this is a really it's a good problem, but Raspberry Pi is on fire, and they keep sending cool stuff in the mail, and I don't have time to get it open. So today we're gonna do Raspberry Pi Mega Unboxing #1. We're gonna cover the new touchscreen, 7-inch touchscreen, and the SSD kit with Raspberry Pi custom branded storage. And we're also going to do later on, right after this, in fact, in an hour, we're gonna do a co-build along with David Groom of Make over on their channel, and I'll drop the link in the description, but you can go to Make's YouTube channel. It might also be on here. We've never done this before, and it's going to be chaos. But right now, I wanted to just share some of the things that I've got for you today. Then on Monday, I'm going to do Mega Unboxing #2, which is going to involve some new secret things, as well as Raspberry Pi's AI camera, and they have an AI hat plus, which relates to some stuff we've unboxed before. But okay, so actually building stuff. Awesome. Hello, Tariq. Always good to see you in the comments. All right, so first up, we've got this. As I mentioned, we've been getting a bunch of different packages, and I get the feeling that there's kind of like running this stuff out the door as fast as possible, which is awesome. And so actually I got a couple different packages separately, and one of them contained these little storage guys, which we'll take out in a second, and one of them contained the carton for the kit, and another one contained this separate carton for the M.2 HAT plus. So we saw before, let me just pull this out actually. I was building a Raspberry Pi new setup with the Raspberry Pi 5. Which version is this? How many gigabytes has it got? 8 gigs. You can tell by the little bridging resistor here, there's 8 gigs, 4 gigs, 2 gigs, and 1 gig. I haven't actually seen that one out yet, but yeah, so we've got a Raspberry Pi setup that I was building a little like assembly for so I could build a shell around it in Onshape. But so the existing AI kit, which I have here in a little box, consisted of an M.2 HAT Plus and this Halo AI add-on, an M.2 key M. Does not say on the box, but I should know which one it is. It's the longer one. Module for AI acceleration, basically. And so basically the storage kit is the same thing, but it includes the M.2 HAT Plus and some of these storage goodies. I'm going to bust these out of the bag in just a second, I promise. Oh, let's do it now. Raspberry Pi unboxings are always a source of great joy for me, and so we get a little more chaotic than usual because I don't know how to ramp it down, but that's okay. So the first thing that we've got here is an SSD with 256 gigs of storage, and this is an NVMe drive. Oh, I guess it's the shorter M.2 thing anyway. I lied to you. Apologies. Oh, I can do either. Check that out. We'll have a look. So this is actually the smaller of the two SSDs, and it goes up to 512 on the other one. I'm going to try and give you a close-up view here. So pretty. With that gorgeous coloring. You know, this is not what matters right now, but it is autumn. I'm getting really excited about the rain. I've got a giant mug of tea, and this is kind of Raspberry Pi colors as well, honestly. And the vibes are simply incredible. So let's settle in and take a look at the website. So I actually noticed that they've got a USB 3.0 hub coming out as well, like as reported by Gareth 14 days ago. Gareth is a huge badass. He's actually written books about Raspberry Pi, I think including the beginner guide. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, they've got this hub coming out that, you know, splits USB input. Very good. I usually only need to use a hub with Raspberry Pi products when I'm using Raspberry Pi 0 or 02 or 02W, because those take micro USB in, and I want to plug USB-A stuff into it. But if you do run out of ports on your Pi, even though you've got 4, you lucky monkey, uh, you can expand it with this hub, and you can read more about that on the Raspberry Pi blog. But Gareth usually does a really good rundown. It is only $12, which is nice. It's USB 3.0. You can turn it into 4 of those, and then you can also add a power supply, which that's honestly that might be the part that's most exciting for me, is that you can run peripherals that want a lot of power. All right, so then we've got the Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2, but we're going to skip ahead to the M.2 HAT Plus. So this one takes, as I mentioned, both sizes of M.2 key uh, inserts for PCIe. And this is part of the SSD kit. So you can get either 256 or 512 gigabyte capacities. Redonkulous! Which, if you want to run like a Raspberry Pi NAS, a network attached storage, some kind of local media server, you can do that. If you want to do, I don't know, store, I don't know if you could, I'm sure you could train some kind of model on this. And yeah, in fact, Liam's chiming in. How about this? Actually, our cafe guest. So every week, I'm going to run off on 5 tangents in a row, but I promise we're going somewhere with this. Next week on Hackster Cafe, my interview show, where our guest is Cyril Engman, who is an awesome um, engineer, hardware maker and breaker red teamer. He has definitely created some storage solutions and also crypto mining stuff on Raspberry Pi, which I was always wondering if you can actually do that on Pi. But yeah, these ones actually, though, for the storage could be helpful with if you want to train your own model, you have to store a ton of examples and stuff. And I haven't seen anyone specifically training models on the Pi. I know that people run them on here, and that's partly what the AI cam is for that we'll be looking at next week. But if you did want to store a ton of examples on here to train on, you could do that with 512 gigabytes of NVMe memory. It includes the stacking header and spacers and screws for adding it onto the Pi. All of the Hat Pluses come with this. Take a little sip of water there. And then you've got the product brief you can check out and compliance information. It'll be in production until at least January 2032. So if you want to build something that'll still be going 8 years from now, you can do it. Well, more like 7 years, but yeah. You get the idea. You can check it out from all these different places. Very cool. And then onto the actual SSD itself. The Raspberry Pi SSD unlocks outstanding performance for I/O-intensive applications, including super fast startup when booting from SSD, reliable, responsive, and high performance. You know, I may just be making this up. Oh no, wait, this is going off on a tangent again. Okay, so the other thing that I got from them is these little SD cards that are Raspberry Pi branded. And I did burn one of these this morning in anticipation of building a computer with David Groom later on. And, you know, the kind of thing where you pop the Pi in the oven and then you're like, I already have one baked. Here's my pre-baked Raspberry Pi. Anyway, I may just be making this up, but I feel like the Raspberry Pi Imager app burned this much faster than usual. I feel like I usually have to like set it up, go off and do something else for like 20 minutes and then come back. And it's been a while since I did it, so it may have to do more with the app than the SD card, but I swear it went like 10 times faster. So if it's been a while since you set up a Pi, you may find some pleasant surprises in there. All right, let's see. Even IoT data. Oh yeah, capturing data more frequently and providing more accurate aggregations before shipping them over a network. I'm a huge fan of doing everything on the edge. For so many different reasons, including, you know, if you're doing AI inferencing, that's one thing, but even just for IoT, for privacy, for resilience reasons, so many reasons to capture your data locally, process it locally, and then update the data, upload the data over up to the cloud. It saves you on bandwidth. It saves you on wondering if your like database is going to be compromised. Usually usually there's of course going to be exceptions, but usually your physical uh, system is going to be a little bit more secure than your online one because it could be everywhere. Anyway, uh, that whole thing about how the cloud is just someone else's computer. We have a question. What kind of tea am I drinking? I am drinking coconut green tea from Tea People. This is a tea with a story behind it for me that also makes me feel very cozy. There used to be a place in San Francisco called Ken Ken Ramen, and it had incredibly good ramen. And sadly, they have gone under. But before they did, I went one time and I was like, this tea is incredible. What is this tea that you have here? And I'm a very shy person, so this was a bit of a stretch for me. And they told me it was Tea People coconut green tea. She actually went to the back and asked. So mystery wait person, I salute you. This is the most delicious tea I've ever tasted, and I actually gave some to David Groom, so he may be drinking it as well in an hour. Excellent! We have David on here apparently. Tell me what you thought about it on our stream. And we've got some coffee fans here too. Okay, I'm getting way off track, but that was a wonderful little diversion. Let's look at some more hardware. So we've got this M.2 SSD with 256 gigs of NVMe storage. Then we've also got a 32 gig and a 64 gig custom branded Raspberry Pi SD cards, micro SD cards. I'm going to leave this one out because I'm going to use it later. So yeah, you can get all these things together in the Raspberry Pi SSD kit. Let's just put this together real quick. And then I'm gonna bust out that touch screen because you know I'm excited about that. I've got a whole project planned. So here's the Hat Plus. Let's take a quick look at that up close and see what all we get in there. We've got headers, super long headers, love these, so that you can both plug the Hat Plus into your Raspberry Pi and plug stuff into the top of it. Ho ho ho. And as you'll see, there is a flexible ribbon cable on here that you will plug into your Pi. Taped down? For resilience. Cool. And then you have the two different sizes of M.2 keys that you can. They've even got a little knurled bolt on here. Look at how pretty. Oh, okay. Look at how pretty this is. It's got. I love the word knurled, by the way, and this is so knurled. It's got those little grooves along the edge so that you can easily grip it and twist it. And it's even got like a little standoff on there so that it sits at just the right height and stands up so that you can actually grab it. This is really cool. You don't have to dig out a screwdriver in order to attach your key or swap it out. That is so cool. It's the little things, people. I always have to like go looking around for my generic screwdriver to do this. And if you're new to hardware, there's a fun little tip, which is that if you're failing at screwing it in like I am, you can twist it to the left, counterclockwise or anti-clockwise, first, and that'll help you seat your screw or bolt. Very sturdy little connections here. You know what? I should actually put the thing in. Let's do that real quick. Here is our thingy. You put it in kind of at an angle. Boop. It sticks up like that. I shouldn't do that too much. And then you put your little connector on. That's so handy. Look at that. Man, they think of everything. And then you have your assembled kit. Now let's take a look at, oh, anything else in here? Yes, we do. Okay, so here are your standoffs. Those will go here to hold the Hat Plus securely in place so that it doesn't wobble all over the spot, you know. So it's not relying on your electrical connections to do the mechanical connection, which is weak. always have a reinforcement. Okay, so I'm going to tuck these back in their box. And I'm actually going to stick this in there too. I'm going to write storage on there so that I know where it is. All my little storage guys in their one little box. Okay, so time for the big one. These boxes wrapped in cellophane are what has been arriving. And every time it happens, I am so excited. I have not opened this one previously. It had some adventures on the way here, but I am so excited. Look at it! The thing that I want to build with this is basically a magician's grimoire. I've been really wanting to make a cyber deck that looks like a book of magic, and is, essentially that's what a cyber deck is. Sufficiently advanced technology and all that. Specifically based on the Polly Pocket magic books. So when I was a wee child, I would play with Polly Pockets, which are these little, they still have them, but these little worlds that would fold up and into and fold out of um, what looked like objects. So a crystal ball was my favorite one. There was like a little spell book that opened up into a little undersea magic land, and I'm gonna just talk at you for this. And they had, of course, these little tiny doll things that would go in there. Now they've made them like Barbie-fied, which is kind of weird, but the way that they would pack these little unfolding worlds into these dense little packages that looked like stuff is so magical to me. And to me, that is what a grimoire or a cyber deck feels like. You've got this sort of package where everything fits together and looks nice, and then you sort of dive into it and it unfolds into this entire little world that you can explore and build with. And to me, that's sort of like a huge inspiration. So that's what I want to build with this, is basically embed it into a book type thing. You can get displays that do not have all the extra stuff on here that makes it smooth. And if you want to build them into your own enclosure, that might make more sense. But I want to just get it done. So check it out. There's still plenty of room to make an enclosure for this, by the way. So a 7-inch portrait touchscreen display for Raspberry Pi for interactive projects like tablets, entertainment systems, and information dashboards. Again, for you NAS people, a network attached storage. Network attached storage does not need to have a display on it. It could be headless, but if you do want to interact with it that way, you could. Raspberry Pi OS provides touchscreen drivers with support for 5-finger touch, woo, and an on-screen keyboard, giving you full functionality without the need to connect a keyboard or mouse. All those days of little Bluetooth keyboard and mouse combos, which for me, my history with keyboard and mouse Bluetooth combos for Raspberry Pis is very checkered. I almost always mix up which little Bluetooth dongle USB communicator goes to which Pi or which keyboard, or the keys pop off of the keyboard because it's cheap, which definitely has happened, and or it just like stops working, and then you've also got to worry about the batteries, or charging the keyboard separately. It's a whole thing. So for me, this is incredibly welcome news that you can just use an on-screen keyboard and 5-finger touch. Wow. Of course, you could use a stylus as well. Powered from your Raspberry Pi, no separate power supply is required. I usually prefer to power stuff separately, as I mentioned with the USB hub, but they're saying that you don't have to do that. Interesting. So contains a touch display, power cable, standard ribbon cable, and standard mini ribbon cable. I think the standard mini ribbon cable might have to do with the Pi Zeros. They do have a different type of cable for their camera that's a little smaller. And I've never connected a display to a Pi Zero, but that's my assumption, is that it's for that. And then 8 M2.5 screws. They've got a getting started page. The display size is 7 inches diagonally. You've got an 85-degree viewing angle and a bunch of other stuff that compatible with all Raspberry Pi computers from Raspberry Pi 1B plus onwards, except for the Raspberry Pi Zero series. Well, There goes that theory about the cable, but oh well. Bluetooth devices in general are a plague. Doesn't matter the host system, the devices just refuse to be reliable. I will say, I love some Bluetooth devices. I'm not afraid to say that. It's just these keyboards and mice, meals that I've just had endless troubles with. For example, my little Bluetooth bone conduction headphones. I adore these and they're incredibly reliable. But when it comes to hardware projects, yeah, might want to go with something else. Let's see. I'm gonna look through the comments really quick and see what we've got. Okay. Thank you all for chiming in. It's so fun to see you. So, yeah, on the back here, we've got the place to mount your Pi. They've got a handy dandy diagram on here for where the ribbon cables go. Wait, did I miss? Oh, there we go. So here's the ribbon cable. We've got a little power connector with JST connector as well. Wait a sec. It's a little JST connector that just goes onto the Raspberry Pi 40-pin header. Check that out. I'm gonna pull up the website and look at this. So we've got the Raspberry Pi official blog. This is on sale now for $60. We'll look at the pricing for the other things we looked at today as well. 800 by 480 pixels. This is not your like, I am a serious art display kind of display, but it is cool. Plenty for running a computer on, plenty for some other little plans that I have. Oh wait, the old one was 800 by 480. I thought that seemed wrong. Okay, so this one is 720 by 1280. Don't let me lie to you. Please call me out if I misread something because I'm doing a lot. RGB stuff. Simple setup. Here we go. It's powered from your Pi. It's compatible with all Pi computers. We just said that. So the DSI port is what's missing on the Pi Zero. Attaches securely to your Pi with 4 screws and ships with power and data cables compatible with both standard and mini FPC connector formats. I believe FPC just stands for flexible PCB cable. So you integrate this display driver into the display driver PCB into the display enclosure itself. This is a huge thing for me as well. I got a beautiful display from Adafruit, and it does have a whole separate PCB that you have to manage in the enclosure. I love the display. It's gorgeous and I'm totally going to use it. But also, like, I was like, oh, I gotta do more weirdness with Onshape now to make this all sort of hang together in a secure kind of way. So this also makes it better for my grimoire because it can all be more compact and more stable with fewer things rattling around in there. Very cool. As you'll see on here, it's got a very thin bezel. Be careful with this stuff. I have absolutely cracked a screen, and it still works, which is cool, but not a happy thing. I'm noticing that this is actually separated from the screen a little bit, and I don't want to mess with that, so I'll just be very careful. But yeah, this very sturdy, all-in-one sort of metal sheath on there. And it looks like the I'm gonna actually follow a set of instructions. I'll do this on my hangout with David because otherwise I'm gonna get over enthusiastic. Okay, stop, Alex. Do it later. Could be fancy to have a custom case for it. Exactly. Let's look back at the website a little bit. So yeah, this is basically a 9-year update from the original touch display tool, touch display. I'm very excited about it. You can find it on the Raspberry Pi website. As usual, you click the Buy Now button. It gives you various options for how to do that. And this will be in production until at least January 2030. I love the long support lives of these. Good stuff. All right, so that's the touch display 2. We also had a look at the M.2 HAT Plus and the Raspberry Pi SSD kit, along with the Raspberry Pi SSD. There is also a how-to on the Raspberry Pi blog. You can check out this post from September 13th. They give you a whole little setup that I'm going to try and do. Is that a compute module they've got it hooked up to? Anyway, I'm going to stop scrolling on the website and sign off here. Thanks for joining me. This was mega unboxing number 1. On Monday, we've got mega unboxing 2. We're gonna look at the AI stuff and another secret third thing, um, which I'm not allowed to talk about yet. And then there's gonna be lots more coming down the line. Raspberry Pi is absolutely on fire. I can't believe how much that they're coming out with right now. I'm gonna have to write it all up as a giant list because we had this AI stuff. Uh, they brought out the AI kit with the M.2 HAT Plus and the Halo AI, uh, Halo 8? Halo 8L AI accelerator module with up to 13 TOPS of inferencing performance. And then very shortly after that, they came out with the all-together version of it, which is incredible to me. Just one thing after another. Raspberry Pi team, you are killing it in a good way. One does not build the companion robot control module with Raspberry Pi display module. I prefer to have my companion bots be self-contained. This one does have a Raspberry Pi inside of it. This is Fenrir, and he is currently broken. His servos, after Maker Faire Bay Area last year, decided that they were the head was going to die and that one ear was going to die. But I'm very excited to implement something I've learned from Angela Sheehan, creator of Nova, the fluffy sort of fur stole little dragon fairy companion bot, which is that she actually detaches the servos in software between movements. So instead of it churning and screaming to try and stay in place, it just turns itself off for a bit. And then, so I'm going to try and do that and see if it helps Fenrir's motors not hate themselves. But anyway, I prefer to have them be self-contained, so he does have a little Raspberry Pi in there. Also, I've got actually my ancient Pi PFS project, which I'd like to upgrade as well. This is a self-contained Raspberry Pi computer that connects to the interplanetary file system, the IPFS, and you can print stuff off of it on a thermal printer using the arcade buttons. So many projects, so little time. I'm really excited to hack with David in just under a half an hour now. So go check out the Make YouTube channel. And if we don't get that working, we'll be right back here. Uh, yeah, be sure to join us for that and hack on.